I'm under a bridge. Sorry if there's noise. I just wanted to talk to you about Shawn Harmon's appearance on Anthony Greeno's True Crime Investigates channel. So there was the live that went on for 1 or 2 hours, and Shawn Harmon laid down some background into his life growing up with his father, Dennis Harmon. Gave us a little bit of background into Dennis, that he's one of 27 siblings, where he has lived in the past, and then a little bit of insight into Shawn's life growing up with his father, who, would operate ventriloquist dolls, and he had quite a sick mind about it. It wasn't G-rated. He would go DJing with his father, so to help set up the equipment where his father was DJing. And like his father, Shawn's quite an outgoing person, or was, so he wasn't shy. He could perform on stage, or he could dance, and he could be socially engaging. And I think it's good that Greeno gave him the opportunity to speak on his show today too, because we saw that he can be much more engaging and calm than we've probably thought he would be, and it allowed him to tell his narrative and his truth, because I don't think for a minute that we can doubt Shawn Harmon's sincerity in his belief that his father, Dennis Harmon, is the bridge troll, and that his father, Dennis Harmon, murdered Abby and Libby and committed other crimes, including Evansdale. He points out the violence that he grew up with in the home, the fear, the emotional, mental abuse. He talks about things that others in his family dispute, such as the physical abuse from Dennis toward one of Shawn's sisters, so that would be the sexual assaults upon his own daughters by Dennis. And he laid out things such as, my father sold a white vehicle at the time of the DELPHI murders. He has guns. He's always liked guns. He's always used knives, and he's always been violent. He's always had a dark side. And I have to admit that superficially I feel this suits, my subjective view of bridge troll, which is that he is an older man. He's someone who, yes, left-handed, which Shawn couldn't corroborate. He wasn't sure, but I'm sure I'll be able to find this out now. That he had a gun, that he had knives with him, that he's a person that has daughters, and I don't say it out loud, but what I mean by that is I think that he has committed acts of abuse towards his daughters. And I just feel like it's worth checking out. It's worth the investigation, going ahead and saying, okay, well, without stalking or abusing Dennis Harmon, sounds like he could fit. He's lived within 2.5 hours drive of each area where various crimes have been committed: DELPHI, Evansdale, several others, all of which Shawn Harmon says appeared as posts on his father's Facebook channel. So, I find that quite queer, interesting. Why those ones, And wouldn't it be nice to be able to tick them off? Because Shawn, as I said, he is so sincere in what he's saying, and there's no doubt that he's lived quite a brutal upbringing. He sees it as a very brutal upbringing. He even considers it a possibility that Dennis isn't his real father, that Dennis's brother, can't remember the name, maybe Jeff, is actually his father, and that Dennis could have murdered him because the brother was killed. And Shawn even queries this, But to me, this is what fits the profile. It fits the hiding in plain sight profile of a serial killer who has this social interaction ability. So we've got Dennis Harmon being quite outgoing. He's out there with his ventriloquist dummy entertaining. He's operating as a DJ. He's an outgoing person. And, as per what I went through in my last video, hiding in plain sight, the 7 phases of a serial kill, one of the phases is that this person has the social grace or the charm enough to enact that particular phase of the lure. Just like, I always go to say the wrong name, Dharma, but just like Ted Bundy could ask people over to help him load things into the car. This is something that Shawn Harmon said his father Dennis used to do, was try to get women to come over and help load a kayak onto the roof of a vehicle and this sort of thing. And these things might just seem like they fit many, many people, but it is the sincerity of Shawn that shines through, and you think, well, I don't think he's a nut. Now, he could be deluded, he could be wrong, but I don't think he's just doing this to be vengeful. Reason being is because Shawn has, through circumstances and machinations and things, he's lost his relationship with his 2 sons, both of whom have been raised by Dennis, which would leave them open, if this is true about what Dennis really is, it leaves them open to gaslighting and manipulation and being bullied and groomed. And we know that there's a witness saying that a young man was saying, hey, I'm just waiting for my dad. And the sons of Shawn were raised by Dennis since they were little. They would refer to Dennis's dad. They would. And it's one of his sons that Shawn thinks the younger image looks like. He doesn't think that it looks like a young Dennis, although it kind of could. But, oh man, you look at one picture of Dennis and you see the Halfmeister's, one of his images, or there's several people that have done it. You could overlay the face, just like you could overlay Thomas Jerome Bruce more so, but I think Dennis Harmon's face fits even better. Because, I'll tell you who doesn't. It's James Brian Chadwell. Just to me, going out on a limb, could be wrong. Oh well, but look, it's been 2 weeks. I think we would have the news about Chadwell. People keep writing saying he has been named a suspect. Saying he has been named a suspect just because the Indiana News, I mean, of course the MSMs want to come on and say possible suspect. When the newsreaders say these words, Brenda, I'm looking at you, darling. When the newsreaders say these words, this isn't a quote. This isn't the chief of police coming out and saying in a press conference, we are now naming James Chadwell as a person of interest, or we are naming James Chadwell as a suspect in the DELPHI murder case. No. The only thing that's been said by law enforcement is Tobe Leesenby, isn't it? Saying, yeah, we're looking into him, of course we are, and they're obliged to. But no, Chadwell is not named as a suspect. He obviously has to, they have to go through these motions, don't they, of looking to see if he's the person that could have been at the site. Who knows? Maybe he's going to be framed for it, but it's pretty lazy policing. I mean, they've had so many leads. I'm sure tens of thousands of them aren't as good as Dennis Harmon. I know people are going to say it can't possibly be because he's too old. He was in his 60s at the time. I don't think that's too old at all, not for a seasoned killer, not at all. And because he knows you know, how do you often, you're trying to learn a new skill and there's someone that's older and they're so much better at you. It might be road cycling, it could be playing tennis, it could be doing something that seems to take so much physical strength and everything, but they do it easily, and it's because of their practice, it's because they know the technique. So you can come in as younger and fitter and, you know, and fail miserably, right? But then you look at these people and they're like excellent at something. Well, it's like that, you know. He's got it down. Because I believe in DELPHI as a serial killing. I do. Whether Evansdale has anything to do with it or not. But, you know, this is the other thing. Did I already say this? I can't remember, sorry. That Shawn Harmon said, and that was his father lived nearby each of these places where these murders happened, that he highlighted onto his Facebook in posts, and he would then move soon after. So he moved 5 times in 7 years, or was it 7 times in 5 years? And everywhere he went, he was within 2 hours of these murders that he highlighted onto his Facebook page, and these were including DELPHI and including Evansdale. I think it's compelling. You know, and if it turns out that Shawn, you know, he's someone that is, you know, he's suffering an emotional strain and he's living in some sort of fantasy world, well, he needs support and help, you know. I feel good about what's happening for him now, because he says that he's you know, because he's been homeless. It's been a really long, hard year for him, and he's had his dog Serenity Marie by his side, and she's been his rock. He's had some new teeth put in, he's got some money saved, he's having some medical treatment, he's resting up, and he's going to be able to get a home to live in soon. So, you know, I think things are going to turn around for Shawn, and it seems like he has upset a lot of people with what he's said on Facebook and everything. I tell you now, I mean, people go to my comment section and yeah, sometimes, you know, yeah, it's hard. And he apologised for some of the brusqueness and the rudeness that he has exhibited in this way. He just feels so strongly. He's utterly convinced. So I just wanted to say, go and listen to True Crime Investigates live. It's about 2 hours. You can play it on full speed, if you know, double speed if you like. But, you know, just listen to what Shawn says. From what I heard today, and from what I've heard him say or seen him say elsewhere, I've never seen anything that he has said that seems embellished or different or changed due to anything that anyone has questioned him on, if you know what I mean. Yeah, he's never changed the story, and when he needs to give detail, he really can. And yeah, I think that the good investigative journalists, or the good, you know, tube crime investigators could really get their teeth sunk into this one. This could be big, because, you know, definitely 100% innocent until proven guilty for everybody, anyone. But I'm talking about it because everyone's talking about it. The names are out there, and they have been for a few months, and I was very interested in listening because superficially he had really looked good for it, just from what my tiny little brain imagines is the reality of Bridge Guy, you know. Yeah, I don't think it's Chadwell. I do think he's older. I do think he's someone that is absolutely cruel in his home life, and it's not someone that's just putting on this good front on social media where you can actually see how queer he is. No, I think it's someone that it really would shock people if they haven't been at the end of his abuse. And I think he's a very manipulative person. And it was interesting to learn, yes, you know, Harmon does have a history with guns. He's got a history with knives. He's got a history with violence. And he also said, Shawn also said, he may know Ron Logan, you just don't know, because horses have been something constant in Genesis' life as well. And perhaps he bought a horse from Ron Logan. I imagine Ron to be the type that if someone went to his property to look at some horses to buy, he probably showed him around the property. They probably walked down to Purvey, Deer Creek or whatever, I don't know. I'd say Ron would have a good old natter, discuss the land, the area, I don't know. And you know, a serial killer would be someone, if they kill in those sort of areas, that he would have been scoping out areas anyway. He could have been knowledgeable about the trail anyway, and that could have just given him further knowledge. Because again, if you look at my last video where I put the 7 phases of a serial kill, as written by Joel Norris, I think from a study of over 500 serial killers, yeah, you'll see how this all fits. Anyway, I've blathered on long enough. I will speak to you later.